short weeks away, and Rumpier Sports is gearing up for the season with the best deal in DFS.
For a limited time only, we are offering new members a 15% discount for the life of their subscription, including SaberSim subs. Simply use the promo code NFL15 when subscribing to take advantage of this great deal before our prices go up.
And at RPS, we don't just give you access to one sport. When you subscribe to our premium service, we give you access to all of our content, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and so much more.
And we're not going to charge extra for access to our preseason content either. Our memberships include all of our content, including the NFL preseason. The best DFS players in the industry give you access to their core plays and slate strategies for every sport and for every slate. Simplify your lineup building process by plugging in picks directly from the top players in the world. Watch our premium live streams to gain a huge edge on the competition. Our guys are live up to lock for the biggest slates, walking you through their last-minute decisions, analyzing breaking news and injury alerts for the major sports.
Again, for a limited time only, you can access our industry-leading DFS content for 15% off our already low price. SaberSim packages are included, so sign up today using the promo code NFL15 for 15% off your subscription for life and start building winning lineups today.
What's going on, everyone? AP over here at Rumpier Sports. I apologize. We are running a little bit behind, and we don't have that much time to work with, but I'm here with DC. We're going to get it done, and JSU should be on the show here 5-10 minutes, if that. So, again, do us a favor. We're making these shows free this week because we want to talk and highlight a lot of the football content that we have coming out. All of us, we're just getting dialed in right now. We have an awesome promo, NFL 15. It's going to get you 15% off for life. I'm telling you, it's going away. Next week, the prices are going up. The promo is going away. So now's your chance to do it and take advantage, because we're going to absolutely ship this week in MLB to get us all set up straight heading into the NFL season. DC, what's going on, my man? How was your weekend?
It's good. It's still ongoing, right? Happy Labor Day to everybody joining.
Oh, that's right. That is right.
I'll be honest, taking a little break from the festivities to join the show, join everybody. And, shout out to anyone watching the show. Maybe, you're cooking out, you're going to a party tonight. Maybe you're at home watching baseball, whatever it is. But, we'll try to pick some winners. Of course, we got football in 3 days now? Rams and
3
Bills
days.
On Thursday night. So
absolute banger of a game. That's going to be a ton of fun on Thursday, man. I'm pumped.
Yeah. I know we all are, but we still got, another month of baseball. We've been talking about it. We won't be slowing down on the baseball product. We'll be grinding through, at least for me, outside of Sundays. Sundays, I'll probably be taking off of baseball for the most part, but every other day I'll be in the baseball streets trying to pick some winners for the people. And of course, football coming up, and man, yeah, we couldn't be more excited. I know, I'm sure everybody out there is excited for the return of the NFL. But hey, for the next 35 minutes, we're talking some baseball.
Yeah, speaking of baseball, we got a shorter slate tonight, but I actually think it's pretty interesting. DC, let's start with pitching. I think when I first pulled up the pitching options on the slate, I saw Tristan McKenzie 10.7K. I'm like, man, that is an insanely high price tag, but he's been a little bit better, and it's cooler here in the Midwest. It's like 75. I'm telling you, it feels like 70. I'm like 2-3 hours north of KC, obviously, but down there, it feels cooler here. The winds are blowing in. We could have a pitcher's duel there, but let's talk about pitching. Let's break it up. Let's just go Logan Webb all the way up to McKenzie, just because I think there's one guy down low that we'll talk about who's making a debut tonight against a team that's kind of cold. So let's just talk about, let's group them all together and break it down. Where are you at for pitching tonight?
I do think there's a lot of options for a 6-game slate. A lot of different ways you can go. I think we'll see several pitchers put up 15 plus, maybe 20 plus points on this game. Like you said, Tristan McKenzie, 10.7K. little bit of a sticker shock on him, right? That's kind of the price that you normally get for the Scherzers, the Groms, Corbin Burnses types of the world. McKenzie, though, actually, like several of these higher price pitchers, has really turned it on in the second half. He's been excellent. He has been generally better at home, but man, he gets a matchup here against the Royals. I know, AP, you're a Royals fan. I've been a Royals fan more often than maybe I would like to admit this year. It hasn't often worked out. Just bring that up because, yeah, expect McKenzie to pitch pretty well here. He's a dude that throws a ton of strikes. He pounds the strike zone. He's not afraid to attack hitters. He can work deep into games. They let him throw, like most Cleveland pitchers, 95 to 110 pitches pretty much every time out. And pitching in Kansas City, which is a pitcher's park in general and one of the harder places to hit home runs in the league, that pitches that accentuates his strengths, right? Because his biggest weakness is he gives up a fair amount of home runs because he gives up so many fly balls. But pitching in Kansas City against this Royals team, you can easily make the argument that that high fly ball rate is a plus for Tristan McKenzie, because most of those fly balls are going to just be caught harmlessly in the outfield, especially against a Kansas City team who just doesn't do that much damage in general. So I can certainly see the case for McKenzie. He didn't make my preferred top two pairing, but he's not far behind. So I think McKenzie certainly in play. If you've got a cheaper stack that you like, if you've got some value plays that you like, no problem with playing McKenzie. If I was playing a bunch of lineups, he would certainly be on some of them. My number one guy is Blake Snell, pitching at home against Arizona. Not a perfect matchup for Snell. Arizona does have some guys that can make some decent contact, but I do think Snell has the highest upside by a decent margin on this slate. We know what he can do when he's on his game, strikeouts galore. It's a hard guy to predict, right? Which Blake Snell you're gonna see. But if we're talking tournaments, he's a guy I like to roll the dice with. He's had a one or two hiccups recently, but in general has been sort of vintage Cy Young version of Blake Snell in the second half of the year post All-Star break. So he's my number one. And then beyond that, I know you've been on the Brady Singer train, AP. I mean, he had a little bit of a rough start last time against Chicago, but for the most part, he's had a strong second half. Andrew Haney has come on very strong for the Dodgers. Have no problem with him against San Francisco. So really, yeah, all four of those guys, right? McKenzie, Snell, Haney, Singer. I rank them Snell 1, Andrew Haney 2, McKenzie 3, Singer 4. And Singer to me is fourth by a decent margin. Just this Cleveland team makes so much contact that I think I'll go in the direction of the other three guys. But yeah, I think all four of those guys are decent plays. Snell my number one, but I wouldn't try too hard to talk really anybody off of playing any of those four guys if they fit your lineup well.
Yeah, so starting with Brady Singer for me, like I think I'm going to be on the same page with much of what you said. One thing about Singer is just look at his home starts. I mean, his last few have been incredible, and they've been against very elite teams. I mean, except for, the Diamondbacks, but still 27. Then we got the Dodgers, 28.5. White Sox, 27. I mean, mowed the Yankees, Rays. And then we go into like Tigers and some crappier teams where he absolutely dusted them. When I looked at his last start, like I just think he got a little bit unlucky. When you just looked at the batted balls in play, much higher, his defense kind of failed him a little bit there. So I'm willing to look that a little bit, but obviously we know I'm biased towards him. I think every Kansas City pitcher is really bad except for Brady Singer. He's the one guy that I think does have elite stuff. My concern, though, I'm with you. The strikeout rate, while the Guardians haven't been doing any damage, their strikeout rate is still really low. Like when you look at the last 30-day metrics relative to their season average, they're not doing much damage at all to right-handed pitching, but they're not striking out a lot, like 16, 17%. So Singer's going to have a very strong, like a very flawless type outing here. I think he has it in him, though. One of my calls that, so I'm going to be working on updating my article a little bit here, but one of my calls was that Brady Singer is going to outscore Lance Lynn tonight, who I have as one of the chalk mid-tier pitchers against the Mariners here tonight. this Mariners lineup does have a lot of like power. Ty France absolutely smashing it right now. Julio Rodriguez, obviously one of the best hitters in baseball. But when you look at opposing pitchers pitching here in this ballpark, it's pretty insane. Like the metrics are absolutely insane. We got JSU coming in. We'll get to him here in a little bit once we know he is in. But you're talking about like Zach Plesac, 24 DK points, went 7 innings. Shane Bieber had a very good outing against them as well. Garrett Cole obviously mowed him down. Nestor Cortez, like Tristan McKenzie, not a good outing, but went 6. So it does set up well for Lynn to kind of at least provide some sort of a floor, especially when you're looking at what he's been doing recently for us. He's looked good. And one thing he's done a very good job at is, his command has been excellent. He's limited walks. So like I went from saying that Singer was going to outscore a guy like Lance Lynn to now, I'm wanting to pair him. Like that's one of my pairings I'm looking at to get away from Blake Snell chalk a little bit. Now I'm not fully fading him at all because his upside in this type of matchup is just absolutely elite. And he's looked good recently, but I do want to get different in a few of mine. I'm building 3 to 4 lineups tonight. So I do want to have some contrarian pairings. Who we got here? We got JSU. JSU, what's going on, man?
What's up? Well, we got DC and AP in the house. What are we talking here? What sport? Are we talking football yet? Is it football season?
Close. Very close,
no,
man. We got shows coming soon.
Oh, what are we still talking baseball here? Oh, I got to change my. I had football. I had football stuff ready to go.
We need the GIF, the walking in, walking out GIF.
Yeah. Wait, no, we need the JSU gift. We need to get the raise the roof, the raise the roof one.
I like it.
You know what I'm talking about. But
we're talking about the slate here that locks in what 23 minutes.
We're talking the baseball still. All right,
yes,
we'll get the baseball up. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I just pulled it up for the people here, so we'll get the winners. Another Blake Snell chalk slate, I'm sure. Honestly, these are going to be the freshest takes I've ever given because I just pulled the slate up like 5 minutes ago. So I just got home.
JSU, I want DC to talk a little bit about Hunter Brown. I don't know if you looked into him much. Another one of these.
It doesn't sound like JSU's looked a lot into Hunter Brown, just to be honest.
No, I need DC to give me the what's DC. Up on DC,
Hunter I want
Brown.
you to. Yeah, I want you to talk about Hunter Brown because my question is we have these prospects, many on the season now. It becomes a reoccurring theme. These guys are good. They are good. They look like they have the stuff. We're all talking them off. They're talking them up, stroking to them, and they end up just blowing up in our face. Now Hunter Brown in that same spot against a Rangers team that outside of their 1 through 4 hitters is cold, ice cold. We're talking like Detroit, Tigers bad. So what are your thoughts on Hunter Brown tonight? Only 5.2K on an interesting pitching slate.
Yeah, I actually feel like I've had pretty good success with some of these pitchers that have come up recently. Not that necessarily means Hunter Brown's going to have a good start today, but I'm certainly willing to use him for a number of reasons. We talked about the upper tier looks good, right? I think you can make a case for McKenzie, Snell, Haney, Singer, Lance Lynn, of course, who you just finished talking about, AP. But the mid-range looks rough to me, right? I don't really want to play necessarily Webb or Suarez or Gonzalez. I'll go down to Hunter Brown, who has been pitching pretty well for the Astros in AAA. Really high strikeout rate. That's one of the biggest things I look for when we're looking for a cheap rookie pitcher, right? Do they have a high strikeout rate and are they stretched out? Can they give you potentially at least 5 or 6 innings if things go their way? Do they have some upside? And I certainly think Hunter Brown has it. I'm not going to pretend that I went and watched all his AAA starts or anything like that, but the numbers speak for themselves for the most part when we're talking about these rookie prospects. Is it a safe play? No, but massive savings, right? Down at 5,200. I think you can expect 90 pitches out of him. Matchup is pretty good. And I just trust the Astros in general, right? Their pitchers generally perform as good or better than you would kind of expect them to over the course of the season. Again, it's one start. You never know. Guy can come up, have hiccups or whatever. He's nervous. But yeah, I think, a little bit of a narrative take, but this Texas team playing out the string a little bit, right? They got really nothing to play for the rest of the way. It's a holiday. They got to go on the road to Houston. They were just on the road in Boston, and they got to face a rookie pitcher who, he's locked in, or at least, he's trying to be locked in. This is his major league debut. He's going to be out there doing his absolute best, going up against a team who maybe not, right? Maybe not completely focused on the road for all those reasons I just listed. So absolutely willing to play Hunter Brown. Honestly, I think I could make the case that maybe he's the guy you want to lock in if you're playing multiple teams. You pair the cheap guy up that we think can deliver with, maybe you mix and match McKenzie and Snell and Haney and Brady Singer with the best cheap guy, which I do think Hunter Brown clearly is, at least in my eyes. So absolutely willing to play him. Looking at ownership, I'm seeing, maybe 15 to 20% on Hunter Brown. Very reasonable on a, on a 6-game slate where you got to roster 2 pitchers anyway. So I'm in on Hunter Brown. We'll see how he does. No guarantees or anything like that, but I do think, point per dollar wise, I would take Hunter Brown straight up over anybody else on this slate, including the top dogs, point per dollar wise, right? Not raw points. So yeah, I'm in on Hunter Brown. I think he'll get strikeouts, and you don't have to get that many usually at 5,200 to get there. So I'm in on him.
Yeah. One thing Hunter Brown does is like, we have a lot of expensive bats on the slate that are in really good spots that are on fire right now. Jose Altuve. We got Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani later. I love pairing those guys up, and they're hitting
the big Padres, Soto, Profar, those guys.
Big Padres. Yeah. So I love that. I wanted to like fade him just because it's like I feel like it's that GIF. Shit, here we go again.
Yeah, if he was going to be
with
40,
these young guys,
40 or 50% owned, I would be with you. But at a relatively low ownership percentage, yeah, I'm going to go there myself at least.
Well,
Very
so
good.
It's interesting. First of all, DC, you haven't watched all of Hunter Brown's AAA starts, so I'm a little wary on this play already as you talk about it because, I want someone who's, of course, watched every single pitch in the AAA. I can't believe you didn't grind the AAA film of Hunter Brown to make sure every single start he was up the point on every single pitch. I wanted to know everything, how it breaks, the velocity, every single game. You don't have all of that in front of you? What is this?
Well, JSU, I can tell you. Have you had a cocktail or two this afternoon? You're coming in hot?
No, I haven't. I needed to up the energy in the show. So
I was trying to bring it, but I guess not.
I will say though, I did just come from dinner and it was really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very good dinner. We went to Ruth's Chris. I got one of my friends gave me a gift certificate.
Very nice.
For my birthday a couple weeks ago, and very, very good. If you want a good meal, it's a good spot. They just opened up.
What was the JSU order? What steak did you order? You better be.
I actually had the chef special, the rack of lambs, and it was amazing. So good. The lamb was so good there. So yeah, try that out. But to the baseball slate, now that I've kind of been able to get some thoughts on some of these guys, first thing I notice is normally when we have a pitcher like Hunter Brown, someone who's cheap, young prospect coming in, he's got good strikeout numbers, like DC said, coming up. Normally they're chalky as an SP2, and I'm surprised he's not projected higher owned than I'm seeing right now, which is kind of interesting.
It's because of the other options, right? Lance Lynn is cheap. He's projected for a big score. And those like 4 or 5 guys up top are all pretty good plays. So I think people are going to try to spend up.
They are. I'm just surprised because, on DraftKings, people like to spend up, spend down, a little more.
The reason is, DraftKings has kind of slacked on their hitter pricing, right? Not only are there cheap starting pitching coming up, but there's cheap bats coming up too. And a lot of these guys are just sitting right between 2 and 2.5K. So it's easy to play 2 studs and then fill out value if you need to. I think that's why he's going to have a little bit lower ownership than you might expect.
All right. Well, that makes sense. So from the stud perspective, I do think for me anyways, I'm kind of looking at Andrew Heaney and Tristan McKenzie at the top. I'm probably going to fade Blake Snell just because 6-game slate. I'm only going to play 3 lineups, I think, on DraftKings. So I'm probably just going to fade that ownership with Snell. And I mean, hey, we've seen him have some rocky starts. So,
Sure.
I'm going to take the 40, 50% ownership, whatever he's going to be, and I'm going to stay away from it. I think McKenzie and Heaney, I think both of them are capable of putting up just as big of a game as Snell could potentially put up.
Absolutely.
And Andrew Heaney looks really good. His strikeout numbers, I mean, the past 3 games he's only pitched, what do you have? 85 pitches last game, 91, 89 the last 3 games. And he's had 10, 10, and 8 strikeouts. The strikeouts look really good right now. So I think he might be my favorite top guy. And then McKenzie would be second after him. And then Hunter Brown. I think those are the 3 guys I'm looking at. Now, if I need another guy in the middle tier, what do we think of Jose Suarez? Because he has also been a guy that's pitched pretty well recently, especially the last 5 games. DC, were you on Jose?
I mean, he's 5th, right? Behind the studs, behind Hunter Brown. But I mean, pitching at home against the Tigers, and like you said, he's putting up some pretty good numbers recently. His price is certainly reasonable at $7K. Really, really good hitting environment in especially in that Angels game where it's true for the Dodgers too. But what is it, 90 degrees, wind blowing out, which in that stadium it really matters. And he does give up his fair share of fly balls. So I don't know. He's a fine play. There's no question about it.
I don't think he's needed, but I think he's at least in the conversation. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to get into offenses before.
Well, yeah, so let's do this, guys. We got 14 minutes. Let's rank our top 3 pitchers or top 4, or whatever you want to do. DC, you did that already. And then let's move on to bats. So for me, I have it. What am I on? Let's see, Brady Singer, Lance Lynn. And I'm gonna go with Hunter Brown as well, because what I want to do, I love these high priced offenses, Padres, Astros, and the Angels, power bats, and I want to load up on those guys. So I'm going mid range and value on the slate. DC,
yeah, I'll put Hunter Brown number 1. I'm only playing a few lineups, but he would be the highest owned guy I had if I was playing a whole bunch, just because he's the cheap guy that I like by far the best. Whereas I think it's pretty tight up top between McKenzie, Snell, Heaney, and Singer, and even Lynn, right? I'm going to fade Lance Lynn personally. That's something I normally do. And Seattle, I know it's a great place to pitch, but Seattle is a team that is coming on strong. They're getting healthy. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They're at home on a holiday. I think they're going to be, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to perform well, but they're going to be ready to play this game, and have a good game plan. They're not going to be mailing it in or anything like that. So that's the reason I'm not on Lynn. And then also, the ownership, obviously, I think Lance Lynn will be the second highest owned pitcher behind Blake Snell. So yeah, I'll go Hunter Brown 1, Snell 2, and then third, tight call, but give me Andrew Heaney.
Yeah, I like Heaney, Hunter Brown, and McKenzie. I think those are the 3 guys I'm going to roll with. I will say too, Lance Lynn, if you're fading that ownership, he'll give up home runs. He'll give up a bomb or 2 here and there. He's done it all season, really, where he's given up bombs. So don't be afraid to pick off a one-off. And like DC said, Seattle's coming on. They're coming on strong. So you can easily find a one-off or a mini stack from Seattle.
They're just not the team I want to pick on with the chalk pitcher right now. That's it for Lynn. Yeah.
I wish Suarez was obviously in there, but
JSU. Do you want to? Do you want to go into your? Do you want to go into yours and then go into your top stacks? I actually might hand it off to you so I can get my article all updated.
Yeah, I mean, you can hand it off to me, and me and DC can kind of go through the offenses real quick. We can just give our top 3 offenses, and then we'll kind of take some questions in chat. If people have questions, we can take them. DC, who are your top 3 stacks? Just real quick.
Yeah, the Astros are number 1 for me, I think by a decent margin. Martin Perez, he did pitch well at the beginning of the year and has actually continued a pretty strong. I mean, his ERA is still sitting below 3. Nobody expected that from Martin Perez coming into the year, but the Astros have seen him a lot, right? They're in the same division, and they've actually seen him 2 out of his last 5 starts. Martin Perez has gone up against Houston. He started against them 5 starts ago, went 5 innings, gave up 7 earned runs in that one, -4 DraftKings points, and then faced him in his very last start. Also went 5 innings, another 5 earned runs, 9 hits. So the Astros, they just know exactly what's coming out of Martin Perez, right? Who is not an overpowering pitcher. This isn't a guy who can blow a fastball by someone where he's like, here's my pitch. Can you hit it or not? That's not Martin Perez's game. You'll realize almost entirely on deception. And Houston, they're not a team that you want to roster a pitcher against, or, they're a team that you want to target deception like pitchers against in general, because they don't chase outside the zone, right? They're very, very disciplined, and they've seen Martin Perez so many times that they know what's coming. They know what to expect. They just saw him the last start. They're another team that I like at home, where a lot of their guys perform better. They, many of their guys have the obviously the platoon advantage. Perez throws from the left side. A lot of the guys you want from Houston, Altuve, Bregman, some of the cheaper guys even swing from the right side. Gurriel, Jeremy Pena hitting second tonight. I think Houston's going to do some damage here against Perez. So I do have them number 1.
I like the Houston. Yeah, well, I said top 3, but I will just chime in real quick saying I like the Houston call. They were going to be in my top 3, so I'm glad to see you on them. I think the Angels are in a nice spot. I like the Angels a lot. DC, why don't you give your last 2, and then I'll go in for my last one.
Yeah, I had the Astros 1, the Angels 2, so we're right on the same page there.
Love it.
The other 2 I listed in my personal slate breakdown were the Padres, who are going to get this Ryan. What is it, Ryan? I forget his last name.
Was it Nelson?
Ryan
Nelson, right? Yeah.
For the D-backs, who, I mean, he's been pitching all year in AAA, and he's got like a ERA, I think, over 5. He's been getting hit especially hard by left-handed bats. So guys like Profar, Soto, Josh Bell, Cronenworth. Of course, you can include a guy like Machado in there with a full stack against, anytime you're stacking the Padres, hard not to include Machado. But yeah, Ryan Nelson been getting hit hard, giving up a lot of stolen bases as well, which is a big boost to a guy like Profar at the top of the lineup. And then you've got a bad D-backs bullpen behind him. We see that Padres team total sitting there at 5.2. I do like them a ton. So love the Padres. And then the Angels, I mentioned the elite hitting environment in LA tonight. It's kind of a stadium that you see a lot of games that are like 65, 70 degrees there, right? Where it's kind of in general, a pitching friendly environment. Not today, man. 90 degrees and 50% humidity, and that stadium with winds blowing out straight out to center field, which is, it's one of the weirder stadiums where it's way easier to hit home runs out to center field than it is to the other parts of the ballpark, at least in comparison to other parks. Guys like Trout, Ohtani, Ward, Rengifo is better against lefties, and they get Tyler Alexander of the Tigers. So those are kind of the 3 teams I'm really keyed in on. Most of my hitters will come from the Astros, the Padres, and the Angels.
I like it. All right. So the only thing that I have that's different, because I'm on Houston, I'm on the Angels big time. I'm not on the Padres as much. I actually think if you're not playing Blake Snell, it's another thing on these smaller slates. I'm going to play a little bit of mini stacks from these Arizona Diamondbacks. Don't be afraid. If you're fading Blake Snell, don't be afraid to take some bats, because you are rooting for him to go down. You're rooting for him to have a bad start. And guys like McCarthy, who's been hitting really well. You can always play Christian Walker, I think he's 4K. I know he hasn't had much success against Blake Snell.
I mean, Carson Kelly leading off, of course, is a top catcher.
Yeah.
If you're not on Snell, Ketel Marte can hit lefties. And then Emmanuel Rivera, who after being traded, I think from the Royals to the D-backs, has been good. And then Stone Garrett, 2,600. I've seen him hit a bomb or two for the D-backs. he's got big boy power down in the 7-hole 2,600. So he's a good.
He's got real power. He let me down one of these slates recently, but he's got legit power. I like that guy too.
Let people down a lot of slates, but you're looking for one swing of the bat, right, to get you 14 points. So
and listen, when you're playing, Angels and got like Houston bats and stuff like that, you might need to fill it in with a cheap mini stack or one-off guy, and maybe that's the guy that sets you apart on this smaller 6-game slate. So really just don't be afraid to take shots here. And I'm glad that we're both kind of, arm in arm with some of these teams. And for the most part, the pitching too. If you guys have any questions, we can kind of take them, whether they be in the live show chat or in the YouTube chat. We'll do whatever, because got about 5-6 minutes until the slate locks. But yeah, looking at my teams right now, DC, I don't know if you've finished your builds, but the Angels in Houston do fit kind of nice. I'm not going to lie. They fit pretty nice together.
They do. If you have like the mid-tier range, like I got a ton of Angels and Houston stacks, and the Padres too. So I'm pretty much in line with you guys, which is nice. One other thing too is like you do need a cheap kind of one-off or two. Grandal works good at the catcher spot. Trace Thompson, our boy, we got basketball here coming up real soon. Klay Thompson's brother, 2.6K, batting 5th, very hot there in LA, almost 90 degrees. So no, like this, it's all like DC. Was it you that said stacking up the Dodgers tonight? Kind of interesting.
Yeah,
probably will be lower owned too. I like that.
It's a spot where the Dodgers get a big boost from the weather in LA. I've mentioned it a few times now, but it's no joke when you get 90 degrees and humid out in LA. That's a big difference from what you usually see in some of these normally pitcher-friendly parks. Turn into hitter's paradises when you get 90 degrees and this kind of humidity and the wind blowing out. And Logan Webb, right, a good pitcher, but things change when you get out of San Francisco and you got to go into this type of weather. It's just completely different. We obviously know what the Dodgers can do, and I bet they go a little bit lower owned, just because, even though they've got a high team total, right, it's sitting close to 5 runs here, just because people are going to see Logan Webb and they don't want to pick on him. And I get it. I mean, the dude's a ground ball master. That's not typically the type of guy that we want to go against. I actually think if I'm going with the Dodgers tonight, I'm probably just going in on it with a 5-man stack, because I think they're going to have to string together some hits against Logan Webb. But yeah, a kind of a sneaky good spot for this Dodgers team, no question.
God, I feel like the Dodgers they're that team that they always at the end of the night get the ownership. Like they're just always going to have ownership. Yeah. It's just for whatever reason. But
hard to predict.
I get what you're saying, though. People do look at the matchup, right? Yeah. Logan Webb, it will scare some people off.
It's not a pitcher that we typically pick on like ever. So I think some people will stay off him just for that reason.
All right. Let's see. Slate did not lock yet. We still got 3 minutes. Alec, pretty sure. Got 3 minutes here. Let's see. Thank you, Haggy B. I look good. I appreciate that. I feel good. I got a polo on. I appreciate that. Favorite play, Kim, Baez, or Pena? DC, you got a favorite between those guys?
Pena.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So my article's updated. Two cores, 3 max strategy for me tonight. So if you're following my stuff, go and check that out on the site.
That's all set. It's all up. I mean, if you're following me, we kind of talked about it, but Houston, the Angels finish it with Arizona. That's exactly what I'm doing on my teams. I don't, mess around with that stuff. That's exactly how I'm building my squad tonight. So it's going to have Houston, it's going to have LA, and then it'll finish with a nice little one-off or mini stack from the Arizona team. So, and I think I'm going with DC's boy Stone. I'm going to go with some Stone Garrett to get a little unique here. So
that's right.
Love that. Let's see. Any other questions here? I don't see much else for questions here. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. We got about 2 minutes till lock. DC, were there any other like one-offs or, guys that we didn't talk about that you're just thinking for like, large field tournaments, any other one-off bats that you see?
Nothing crazy up the board in terms of that regard. I do think the Royals, if you can get some power there, like Prado, Santana, cheap first baseman, right? They're sitting around 2,500, 2,700. McKenzie gives up a ton of fly balls. You're just trying to get that one home run out of those guys. If you need a little savings, like, maybe you want to get off of Yuli Gurriel, right? For the Astros. You don't want to spend one of your 5 Astros on a guy who just doesn't have a lot of power. So something like that at first base makes sense to me.
I love that. All right. We're hitting about 30 seconds to lock. Since we have no questions, just want to remind everyone, if you haven't already signed up, we got the promo code right now, NFL15. Get in right now. That 15%, you'll lock in for life as long as you don't obviously unsubscribe, but you'll get that for life. And the prices only go up from here. So make sure you get in. NFL15 is the code. It's going to be up until pretty much a week from today. It'll be done by the end of football on Monday night or Tuesday morning, whenever it is that we cut it down. So make sure you guys get in, because football turns into NBA and everything else. And you guys know how that goes.
JSU, I wasn't lying. All right, people, I wasn't lying. JSU was not watching the show earlier when we started this off. Word for word, said exactly the same thing. Prices going up. Get in now. Get in today. I'm telling you, we got new content and stuff coming out. We're going to have a DraftKings heat map, a FanDuel heat map. That Glock's going to be running, managing the FanDuel one. So a lot of cool stuff. An NFL betting playbook too is getting added to the site this week. So a lot of fun stuff over here at Rumpier Sports.
I'll throw this into it. It's not that the price is going up. It's just the discount that you can lock in for as long as you want to stick with us is going away. We actually don't really raise our we're not a site that offers promo codes around the calendar year, right? We offer them at specific times. NFL is obviously a big time to offer it. We think we provide great value. You get all sports, one price all year long, and this is your chance to get 15% off if you want to join us. It's worth it. We're not. I don't think we really blow that much smoke up people's asses when it comes to subscriptions at Rumpier Sports. It's worth it. We do provide winners, and this is a chance to get in. So yeah, you got another week to do it, but no better time than now.
Right. It's the best time to do it. Football starting up. We still got to finish of baseball, the playoffs, NBA in a month. We got everything over here. Golf. If there's golf, we'll cover it. We got Tambo for that. We got MMA, DC, Title, all those guys, they cover MMA. We got everything at Rumpier Sports. Get in now. Join the movement. NFL 15 is the code. Get you 15% for life. That's going to do it for us. For me, JSU, DC, AP. Simon, wrap us up here, bud.